just wanted to say a few words. First, I want to thank our family. Would like to thank Dr. Thomas Reed and his staff at Memorial Hospital for all the care and support that they've given us over the past 3 years, and all the family and friends also who've shown support and assisted us during these 3 years. Most of you know my dad was a very modest man. He didn't want anyone going out of their way for him. So to have this many people here is pretty spectacular. Like he was one of those people that said, don't travel for me, don't take off work for me, don't get out of school for me. So it just kind of shows all of you here how good of a person my dad really was and how many people he impacted in his life. I guess the trait of my dad that I most admire is how he would always sacrifice himself for other people. And this happened all the time, whether it was him taking the one burned hamburger so that everybody else could get a medium rare hamburger, or him eating the black bruised banana that nobody would want. But he would never eat the whole banana. It was always a half banana. Half a banana, as Grandma used to say. He was also kind to everyone and everything. And I know a lot of people say this about other people, but it really was true about him. He was very accepting and welcoming towards everyone, no matter what kind of person they were and what background they came from. Even if there was an ant, a bug, or a spider on the ceiling at home, most people, including my mother, would kill it with fly swatter. My dad would carefully collect the creature in a glass, being mindful not to break its legs or wings, and release it outside. And this happened all the time, no matter how large the bug was, and much to my mother's dismay. Even a month ago, when my dad was struggling to complete the trial treatments in Indianapolis, we spoke about how the long drive to Indy and how it was tiring for him, and if it even was worth it for him to go or not. And he said to me, "Todd, I know that this treatment may not help me very much, but I'm confident that this trial will help others eventually. And as long as I can even help one person battle cancer, I will get up early, come here every week, and continue through the treatments." So he was really just a strong man and always determined to help other people. And then one time when I was about 10 years old, driving home from the lake, one of the many lake trips that we would make, it was just the two of us in the car, and it was dusk, and we were on a desolate road heading home, and we saw a car pulled over to the side of the road, and two elderly women were there standing beside it. And of course, Dad immediately slowed down and pulled over to see if they needed any help. These two ladies were attempting to change a flat tire, but they knew nothing about what they were doing, which honestly I wouldn't know how to do it either. And all these ladies really wanted from us was to send a service station attendant to them so they could call so that the guys could help them. But my dad insisted, and he changed the tire himself, and he just took over from there and had it done in about 10 minutes. The two women were so thankful, and they were very persistent on trying to give them money for the work that he did. Obviously, my dad, being my dad, refused the money, but they really wanted to do something for him. So my dad said to them, "All I ask that if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, that you do all you can do to help out that person in any way you can." And basically, that was my dad in a nutshell. He was Mr. Pay It Forward, and he was always willing to help someone out with anything. He would not expect anything in return. So I believe this is really something that we can all learn to do a better job at. I remember my dad doing that kind deed, and I try to do something like that as much as I can. It's so easy to say, but much harder to do. And we can all learn from him to become a better person, and that was my dad. He was definitely a better person, the best one out there, in my opinion. And so we'll miss you, Dad, and thanks for all the great things you've taught us.
Hi everyone, I'm Donna, and I was Richard's niece, and largely we grew up together. So early on, Rich and Barb had a house that was basically across the street from my parents. So our houses were sort of entwined, and we spent lots of time in each other's houses, and Scott and Todd and Andy and I really grew up together. And then we spent a lot of time at the lake picking up sticks with Grandpa Wadzinski as well. Has anybody ever heard of the butterfly effect? It's this really neat concept. And physics professors came up with this. The idea is that a butterfly can flap its wings, and way across the world, a few weeks later, the wind that is caused by the flapping of the butterfly's wings can actually cause a hurricane weeks later on the other side of the world. And the idea is that a very small thing can cause a very large impact. So what does this have to do with Uncle Rich? Well, I think of Uncle Rich in some ways as a butterfly, and other people have mentioned this. He was often the one to kind of stand in the background, and compared to a lot of my Polish relatives, he was relatively quiet and unassuming. I think he was the perfect complement to my Aunt Barb, who is very outgoing, gregarious, and often finds herself the center of attention because she's telling her latest story, and we're gathering around her to laugh, and Uncle Rich would be there laughing as well. So I often thought of my Uncle Rich as kind of the quiet one. But I think he actually developed another side after his diagnosis. And I feel like I got to know him even better in these last few years. I just feel like he became very expressive. He was very free with his laughter, very free with love. He never missed an opportunity to tell me that he loved me, or that he was grateful for the days that he had, that he was so thankful we were praying for him. And he really took advantage of that, and I think counted his blessings every single day. He would give me the warmest hugs, and to my mind, he seemed much more spiritual and at peace. And I never once heard him complain. In fact, he did the opposite. He embraced life. He spent his last few years since his diagnosis doing the polka with me multiple times. He spent as much time traveling with friends and with family and with his beloved Ruthie as he possibly could. And his positive attitude, his enduring faith, his love for life, it inspired me, and it will inspire me forever. And I know I'm not the only one. I heard lots and lots of stories last night about how many other people my Uncle Rich inspired. People told me he was a role model, that he taught us all how to handle bad news with grace and with dignity. He's a shining light, always willing to help out other people. He was a hero, accepting of everybody. And he was cherished. We are better for having him in our lives. So you see, even though Uncle Rich was maybe a butterfly, often in the side, he had a huge impact on so many people. So I want to read a short poem about the impact one person can have. One song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word must start a prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make a difference. And Uncle Rich's life has made a difference in each of ours. We gather today to remember my Uncle Rich and the difference he has made in all of our lives. His love, his faith, his gratitude, and his positive attitude, his positive approach to life will continue to spread through us and then beyond to others, for a long, long time. Just like the wind that's created when a butterfly flaps its wings. We love you all so much.
Good job.
When Mark called me on Monday and asked me if
said, sure. However, my allergies sometimes flare up. So I thought, Rich and I knew each other well. Our families lived within 2 blocks of each other. Actually, the 3 siblings, the 3 families, the Hodges lived a little north of us, and Wadzinski lived a little south of us, and all of us kids, Lester and Christine and Marilyn and Peggy and Rich and I grew up together. I cannot tell you how many times we were roommates. Started, I think, when we were 8 or 9 years old, and we were roommates at St. Joe Hospital, and we had our roommates fixed. We then were bunkmates at Upper Hart for a couple of weeks, and later at Western Michigan, we were roommates at freshman year. We were more, as my wife had said, we were more like brothers with different mothers than cousins or even friends. Oftentimes, childhood relationships change. You start your own families, develop different interests, pursue different careers, and over time, you grow apart. I guess that's why we have reunions. Rich and I did go in different directions. He was big into cars, particularly Studebakers. I was not. He could build things and fix things. And I saw a picture just last night of him sitting on a canoe in front of his cottage on Eagle Lake trying to fix a toaster. And he could touch people in ways that I cannot. But over time, we didn't grow apart, we grew closer together. And the reason I think was because of the strength of his character, and I came to admire him for it. Barb's feistiness sure helped. He was proud of his Polish heritage. He didn't wear a white eagle on his arm, but I think he had one tattooed on his heart. We developed many friendships, and those friendships endured. Bill and Rosemary McMahon, who are here, Tom and Kathy Buning, who are not here, Bill Frame, Dave Sage, David Monica, Jerry Kidman, Jim Umbright, and others. And these friendships endure today. Perhaps most importantly, Rich was selfless, kind, and gentle, and one of the most giving people I have ever known. I don't think in my 70-plus years I ever heard him say a disparaging word about another human being. He was always kind and gentle, and as Jim Short, who was here, said one time, he was a true gentle man. He loved his sister Christine and his brother Lester. He was a devoted husband and father and grandfather. Ruthie was the strawberry on his chocolate cake. He gave time, money, and energy to his family, his church, St. Vincent de Paul, and many of the fathers. And I think particularly of Ray Wadzinski, who's here, who we worked with every week for a number of years to try to get him back on his feet. He's truly a remarkable individual. I suspect that Rich is not yet in heaven, and the reason he is not because it stopped along the way to help somebody else.